Hey y'all, how you doing? SKSOUTH here. Well, the rainy weather's keeping me inside today, so I'm out here in the garage. Gonna build a fishing rod holder for the ceiling of my garage. I already had one, so the layout will be real simple. Just trace the one to the other, and then cut it out and show y'all how it works. Now this is gonna be made simple out of 1x4s, and you can use new 1x4s, you can use old 1x4s, you can use pieces of pallets. It doesn't matter. You can even make it out of 2x4s. Basic idea is how to get the rods in there and how to mount it. And I have hidden hardware, which makes it look a little nicer. Come on, I'll show you all how to build this. Okay, so the basic design of these rod holders, you have one bar that has holes in it where you put the butt of the rod, and then you have the other one where you can stick the rod in and it loops in and hangs up. These actually hang upside down like this from the ceiling, across from each other like so. And once I'm all done, I'll show you how they work. Like I said, I'd already made this pair. And this is an 8-rod holder. And I have to make myself a set of 10s. So I've traced out already the design on this piece of wood. Nice thing about it, it's based on a 2-inch hole saw. This is just 2-inch holes, 6 inches on center, and then that little scroll design that I cut in there to get the reels in, or the rods in. I'm going to be using 3 basic tools to make these rod holders: a jigsaw, a palm sander, and I've got a 2-inch hole saw in my drill press. I've also clamped a piece of sacrificial wood onto the drill press so that I can drill all the way through. The first step of this process is to rough cut our rod holders with the jigsaw. By rough cutting, we don't have to have long planks as we work on the drill press. There we go, we've got them rough cut to size. I've got my drill press set to 550 RPM. This is a 2-inch bimetal hole saw. And if you don't have a drill press, you can use a regular drill. I understand not everybody has a drill press. I highly recommend a pair of safety glasses when you're working with power tools. There's our first hole. Alright, I'll bring you all back after these are all drilled. Okay, as you can see, I've drilled all 20 holes, 10 in each board. Now I'm getting ready to set up and cut out the hook holes for the thin rod end. Evening y'all, SKSOUTH here. Well, I'm back to building the rod rack. Last night I got to looking at my jigsaw blade, and this blade is a bit wide. It was going to make it hard to turn these narrow cuts. So I held off till today so I could go to the Home Depot and pick me up a new set of blades, some narrower ones. But while I was there, I found something else that y'all are going to love. So I interrupt this rod rack build for a new tool review. Looky there. Ryobi now makes a cordless jigsaw. And I figure what better way to give it a hot lunch than on this rod rack, having to make 10 small circular detailed cuts to see how this thing works. I already got my Ryobi batteries all charged up. There we go. Full charge on my battery. Got a big 6 amp hour battery. So let's open this puppy up and see what we get. Well, like all the new Ryobi lithium tools, it's green. Surprise, surprise. That didn't sound bad at all. It's got different speed levels. And it tells me here on the side, right here, it's got some little cut speeds for speed matching for what you're cutting, whether it's wood, particle board, PVC, or steel. If you can see those there. And I would expect it would have a quick blade release. It does. It's a rotating quick blade release. Well, let's get us out a new blade and stick it in there and see what it does. Well, looky there. Looky there. Is it telling me it doesn't like Bosch blades, or did I just not install it far enough? Guess I just didn't install it far enough. Got a nice roller guide here. Front guard. It's got a lock-on button. Aha! This speed match changes the angle of the blade for what you're cutting. Interesting. Well, let me close up my old Barlow, put on some safety glasses, set my corded jigsaw over here on the work table, and let's see how this tool does. I think I'm in love. Just lickety split, took that right out of there. That's ready for sanding. All right. Well, I will give a final review of this cordless jigsaw after I finish this piece, and then I'll be able to show you the rod rack when I get ready to sand it. In the meantime, I know y'all are eager to hear about this saw. Love it. It made these cuts so easy. And that narrow blade, that's about a 3/16 inch wide blade. It made turning those radiuses really easy. The weight of the saw is comparable to my Skill corded jigsaw. And you might have noticed this when I first turned it on, but I wasn't paying attention. But once I started cutting, I noticed it was easy to see the lines and follow them. It has a light. That is so awesome. I can't say how pleased I am at purchasing this new Ryobi. We'll see how it stands up over the test of time, but I'm sure you'll see it in future videos. So I've got them all sanded down, and basically all I did, I made sure I went through and rounded everything off so that we got nice smooth edges. You reach up there to get a fishing pole, you're not going to get a splinter, something like that. And now it's time to drill them for the hardware. And what I'm using is 3-inch deck screws. And we're going to drill 2 holes in order to put our 3-inch deck screws in. Now I've already determined where I'm putting them on the ceiling, and I know how far the holes are spaced, and I've already pre-marked one of them. But I will show you how I transfer the marks from one to the other. So first off, I'm going to clamp the 2 together. And you'll notice that the one with the cutouts is a little bit flexible because of the way it's being cut. Won't matter once it's on the ceiling. There we go. Okay. So we've got them clamped together. They're matched up end to end. And I have a mark here and here for where I'm going to put my hardware. Now the first thing I want to do is set up my drills. This drill set up with a small drill bit, just bigger than the size of the screw. This drill is set up with a drill bit that's just bigger than the head of the screw so that we can hide the screws. So the first thing we want to do before we even put this big drill bit into the drill, we want to look at where we're going to put our screws, and we're screwing in this way so it's screwing up into the ceiling. The screw shank is smooth with no threads. And if we ever want to take them down, we want to make sure that the threads can bite at least a little bit into the wood to back the screw out. Otherwise, you'll have it part way down and the screw will be spinning in here and not coming out, even though it's out of the wall or surface you've got it mounted into. So, back it up a couple threads from the edge, lay your drill bit down, mark it at the top, then take a piece of tape and set a depth gauge. So now I know how deep to stop my hole. That's going to go there. The head of the screw will come into there. That'll leave me a few threads up. Plenty of threads to get through 1/2-inch drywall and into a wood stud. So now we'll get this one loaded. I've got a couple of blocks of wood here to use as drill backers. Use my square and transfer the mark to both pieces. So now I have my marks. My drill is preset for the depth on this one. Let's drill these holes. There we go. The nice thing about pencils, they sand off real easy. Okay, we're drilled out and ready to mount it to the ceiling. Alrighty. Well, one nice thing about having the hidden hardware is I've already stuck the screws in the holes and started the threads. That way I don't have to try and get the screws up while I'm holding these in place. There we go. That should be fine. Alright, so once you've got your rod holders up, you just take your fishing poles, stick the butt end in there, loop it up over there like that. And as you can see, I have a rod rack there that'll hold 10 rods. Now it's time for me to go get the rest of my fishing rods and get them up there. Alright, so there we have it. Both rod racks are up. All the fishing poles are stored safely in the ceiling. And as you can see, this makes it convenient to store my fishing nets as well, because they go right on top of the rods.